I feel like I'm one of the nicest people in the world. And
Hey, you're very nice.
yeah, but a lot of people say I look mean. Jon Jones is a great fighter, but I'm gonna be 100. He's the dirtiest fighter ever.
It was big news when you signed with TNA.
It was big news, and I was so disappointed they didn't use me like I thought they was going to use me.
You versus that door on The Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah, that's the most embarrassing TV moment for me. The door had it coming.
The man himself, Rampage Jackson. Thank you so much for coming by.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I spent the whole day with you. This has been so much fun.
I know it's been cool, yeah.
Who was the first person that ever called you Rampage?
My cousin Tyrone, when I was 8 years old.
And it's just stuck from that moment?
Well, it really didn't stick until I tattooed it on my arm when I was like what, 14?
You did it yourself?
Yeah. Stupid. The worst tattoo I ever seen.
Is that why it's covered up now?
That's right. I covered this up right before my first professional fight, I think. I was too embarrassed. I was too embarrassed to have Rampage going down my arm all crooked, and I almost misspelled it. It was bad, brother. One was like worse than a prison house, like needle and thread.
How did you do it?
You put a needle, you wrap thread around it.
Yeah.
And for the first letter, the dude that taught me how to do it said, "Oh, you got to burn the needle." So the R was all messed up and burnt at the top because I was like, man, that don't make sense. So the R looks all messed up in front. Then I just did like this.
Like with just ink from like a pen or what?
It was, the guy told me it was Indian ink. That's all I knew.
And how long did you have this tattoo for?
Years. I had it from 14 all the way up to I covered it up when maybe I was like 21.
Oh man. So what was the idea of covering it up with this?
I was just real embarrassed about it, and I went to a tattoo shop in Temecula somewhere because I was hanging out with some people that lived in Temecula.
You could be drinking wine while you're out there too. Wine country.
Yeah, I don't think it was a wine country back then.
It's wine country now for sure.
It probably was. I just didn't know. Yeah, and they took me to the tattoo place, and this was the only one that could cover up my tattoo correctly.
Man, that looks good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
What do you mean not bad?
It looked way better when it first got done. It looked like people thought it was branded on. The guy really dug in there deep, and it was like real dark, and it was you could feel it. But it's faded over the years.
Looks good.
Oh, thanks.
You look like you could fight right now.
Man,
Could you?
I don't know, man. I'm out of shape, man. I'm a big boy.
But you have a big frame too, though.
Yeah. I've been training. I've been lifting a lot of weights. I've been doing more weights than MMA training.
Like, are you getting ready to maybe fight? Like, you're not officially retired.
No, I never officially retired. So I do want to fight like maybe like 2 or 3 more fights, and I want to do like at least one boxing match before I get too old.
It's a lot of money in boxing right now.
Yeah, it is a lot of money in boxing, but I just want to do a boxing match. I've always have.
Do you have an opponent in mind?
No, I have no opponents in mind. I just want to box somebody.
You think it'd be at heavyweight?
Yeah, it would have to be a heavyweight.
What do you weigh right now?
Right now, I weigh 290.
290?
I weighed myself this morning. I was 290.
Wow. I wouldn't think you're 290.
I got big legs, big ass, and a big belly.
Your belly's not that big.
It's big, man.
I feel like you could fight at heavyweight in a few weeks, though, if you needed to.
No, it would take me a couple months. I'm gonna keep lifting for a while because me and my friend Harrison Rogers, we both get in shape so we can do a movie together, and then I'm going to just keep trying to get in shape. I want to go to Thailand and train with Bob Sapp. I don't know if you remember him. You remember Bob?
Yeah. Bob
Sapp is right now. He's like 320 pounds, like 7% body fat.
What?
Yeah, he's ripped, and he told me like, "Hey, I can get you in this type of shape." So I want to go out there and see what he's doing.
So if you were 7% body fat, what would you weigh?
I don't know. If I was 7% body fat, I'd probably get all the way down like to 205, maybe.
You'd be back to 205.
I'd probably be back at 205. I'd probably be walking around at 205.
Could you have another light heavyweight match in the UFC?
If I can get down to 7% body fat, but I don't think that's safe for fighting though. 7% body fat.
Well, or like cutting that much weight.
Yeah. I just don't feel like that's safe.
When you fought at 205, what would you walk around at?
Well, it depends on what years you're talking about.
Okay, how about when you won the championship?
When I won the championship, when I beat Chuck, so I was probably walking around like 215.
Okay, a pretty easy cut.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because I really didn't have to cut that much because during camp I would lose like a lot. So I probably had to cut like 8 pounds maybe.
So then, what are some other times where you were cutting way more?
Oh, later on in my career, as injuries got worse, I remember I had to start cutting 30 pounds when I was in Bellator.
30 pounds.
I had to cut 30 pounds. So because some dumbass, 2 specialists misdiagnosed me with hypothyroid, and they put me on medicine. It make me gain weight. I was supposed to lose weight.
Yeah.
But I was gaining weight, so I didn't figure it out. I didn't know. And so
How did you figure it out? How did you know that it was a misdiagnosis?
Well, I didn't figure it out until a month before my last fight. I was training with Coach Cal. I don't know if you know him. He trains a lot of guys like my friend Juan Archuleta, and he trains a lot of good athletes and stuff. And he's a scientist, and he said, I told him about my problem. He said, let me look at your blood panel. And he looked at my blood, and those specialists that I don't think they did this. And he looked at it and he said, oh, there's nothing wrong with your thyroid. He says your T3. Something's wrong with your T3. And he said that medicine that you're on is making you gain weight.
Oh man.
And then I said, and so I quit cold turkey. He was like, no, you shouldn't quit cold turkey. But I was like, man, I got to cut weight to make heavyweight. I got to lose weight. So I quit cold turkey, and it just backfired on me.
Wow.
So I'm still trying to get everything right. But I think that for my body style, I think that maybe I'm gonna have to cut out a whole bunch of stuff like carbs, sugars,
all the fun stuff,
water.
Probably not water. What's the go-to cheat meal for you?
I'm not really a foodie. But man, if I have like a cheat meal when I'm on the strict diet, sometimes I have a cheat meal. I like to order pizza or
me too.
Burger and fries. I'm not a big foodie.
I'm such a sucker for pizza.
Oh man, yeah.
Like it's just so easy.
Oh yeah.
So,
What's your pizza of choice?
Honestly, it's just pepperoni.
Oh yeah, pepperoni is always good.
Because for me, then I can compare the pepperoni pie at this place to this place to this place, and it's one topping all across the board.
Yeah, all my friends make fun of me because Pizza Hut is my favorite, and they was like, "Come on," they're like, "Man, you don't know good pizza." But I'm not a foodie. I like what I like.
My wife makes fun of me relentlessly because I love Domino's.
Oh yeah.
The Domino's crust is unbelievable. That like the way they do the garlic on it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But Pizza Hut,
because you get the extra marinara sauce, you dip your pizza in there. It's like, yeah,
that's real. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
What was the fight where you missed weight and you fought at a catch weight? Was that during that time?
That did happen to me, didn't it?
Yeah. I love that you don't even know. This is great.
I don't remember. Only fight I ever remember missing weight was early in my career when I fought at King in the Cage.
This was in UFC, I think.
Oh, I don't remember ever. I never missed weight in the UFC.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, look it up. I don't remember that.
We've got all the world's information at our fingertips here.
Yeah, because
no,
I don't remember that. I remember one time I missed weight when I was supposed to fight in King of the Cage, but the guy told me, "Oh, don't worry about cutting weight. He's not paying me enough, so I'm not going to fight." So I stopped cutting weight. I had like a pound and a half to go.
Then maybe that's it. I don't know.
No, that was, you probably wouldn't have heard of this King of the Cage. This was a long time ago. This is like 18 years ago.
Well, we've got all the world's information here. Do you know would you be able to tell me every single person that you've fought?
No. I got like what, 60 fights? I don't know.
You've got 52 matches.
Oh, 52.
52 professional fights.
I don't even know my record.
Ryan Bader, UFC 144. Catch weight 211 pounds. Jackson missed weight. That's what it says here. It was in Japan. Do you remember this?
No, I don't remember. I don't remember missing weight for that fight. But
do you remember fighting Bader?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
I probably did miss weight for that fight because you know what?
Now he remembers.
I do remember. I did miss weight for that fight because that was my first time ever doing TRT. I did.
That was back when it was okay.
Yeah. A doctor prescribed it to me. I had partially torn like my meniscus training for him, and I didn't want to pull out of the fight because I was fighting in Japan. You know, it's my favorite place to fight, and the doctor prescribed me TRT and said it would make me heal faster.
And did it?
It was better. I got through the fight. I guess I couldn't keep running. I couldn't lose weight, and I ended up turning in the fight anyway.
Oh, wow.
It ripped it all the way.
Oh.
Had to get surgery right after that one. So I probably did miss weight for that fight. I think you're right.
Well, it's not me.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just the internet.
Yeah,
the internet's undefeated.
Yeah, I think you're right. I just didn't remember. Yeah,
Hmm.
because I remember my body reacted to it, and I remember I got stronger. I got bigger.
So one of the things that I think is fascinating about you is I'm a big pro wrestling fan. You grew up as a big pro wrestling fan.
Yeah.
Was there any chance when you were growing up that it might have been pro wrestling instead of MMA?
Oh, it was always supposed to be pro wrestling. You know, I used to be a really big pro wrestling fan. I'm from Memphis, and my oldest brother was a big pro wrestling fan. So it was like I grew up watching him watch it, and we used to always go to like the Monday night.
Like Monday Night Raw?
Yeah, no, it wasn't called Monday Night Raw. There.
Before then.
Yeah, it was something else. It was called Monday. It was Monday night fights, and they used to have it free on Sundays, where they give you free tickets. You go to the studio. I've been there a couple of times.
Is this like what Jerry the King Lawler was doing, like Memphis Championship Wrestling?
Yeah, Jeff Jarrett was there and stuff, and the Master of Pain.
So who were your guys growing up?
Do you know who the Master of Pain is?
I don't think I do.
He's very famous right now.
Master of Pain.
They call him the Undertaker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I only knew him as Mean Mark Calloway.
No, I knew him. He was Master of Pain. He was my favorite wrestler. Him and the Moondogs. I used to love the Moondogs.
Wow.
Yeah, and Jeff Jarrett. When he was really young. He was coming up.
See, I always said people would be. This guy was like taking a photo. He's like, "Oh my God, it's Rampage! See, look how pumped people are. Of course they are. Yeah, it's Rampage Jackson.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's good.
So what happened then along that journey? Like, why wasn't it pro wrestling?
I don't. Well, this is something. It's kind of like a long story. Okay, I bumped into my favorite pro wrestler.
Who's that?
Master of Pain.
Okay.
Undertaker.
Yeah.
And this is when I started wrestling. I started wrestling because I thought it was pro wrestling, and I went to state. So I'm in Chattanooga, and I'm in a hotel, and I see the Undertaker, and I asked him for a picture. For an autograph. He said no. Then I saw him signing a little white kid's autograph. I was like, oh. But then years later, I think about I was 17 years old.
He didn't see you as a kid.
And he didn't see me as a kid. I was still a kid. But he probably at 17 years old, I thought I was, I thought I was a kid. But
and you probably had this voice too.
I was big.
Hey, can I get an autograph? Like
I wrestled 171.
Oh yeah,
you know,
big 17-year-old.
And I was all muscle and stuff like that. So he probably thought I was a grown man. So years later, like I regret telling my manager that story because the Undertaker wanted to take a picture with me. I was like, he wanted to meet me. I was like, no, I don't want to meet Undertaker. I already met him. And then my friend went back and said, oh, Rampage said he already met you. And then Undertaker like, no, I ain't never met him. And then I told my friend the story, and he said, oh, don't say that because one of my friends at the time, he was there helping out with the pro wrestling. He do like websites, and he was doing websites for porn girls and stuff. He kind of intermingled the two, so they didn't want him around really messing up. So he said, hey, listen, I'm already on hot water. Don't tell nobody the story. I was like, okay, that's cool. I won't say nothing. But my manager at the time told the story, and then it got back to Undertaker, and he was like, what? He didn't remember it. I'm like,
sure.
Yeah, but then I told him everything, and I asked him the same questions I asked him when I was a kid, you know. And I felt bad, but when I got a little older, I thought about, you know what? He probably didn't know I was a kid. So I want to apologize to Undertaker now for making him feel some type of way. He probably thought because I know now when me now, I never tell kids no if I don't have to. Like if it's like a kid, like if somebody pushes me along with a lot of people and I always try to get to the kids, but you can't get to everybody 100% of the time.
Yeah.
But I'd never tell a kid no because of that.
Wow.
Because that changed me not wanting to be a pro wrestler no more, right? But then it's been times where I told like grown men no, but then I got the kid, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe one of those grown men was 17 or something, and I thought it was a grown man. I thought he was older, so I understand now.
So we can blame The Undertaker for you not being a pro wrestler and also thank The Undertaker for you being an MMA legend. Seriously.
Yeah.
Because I'm such a big believer that moments in our life happen for a reason. So if this thing doesn't happen, then that thing doesn't happen. So think about it. If your paths hadn't crossed, if whatever, you didn't have the chance to ask him for an autograph and that didn't happen, maybe you would have tried to be a pro wrestler and perhaps it wouldn't have worked out.
You might be right because pro wrestling, that's tough. That's hard. I don't think I have what they have because they got to wrestle every day. They got
That's a lot.
That's a lot. I don't think I would like to do it. I didn't know all the work that goes into it until I was at TNA for a little bit. Then I saw what they was doing and how often they had to do it. I was like, man, I'm glad I went in MMA.
And most of the people that you're seeing in TNA have been there for, at the very least, they've been doing it for 5 years, maybe 10 years. Legends at that point doing it for 15 or 20 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, you got to train, and then you got to go in front of a crowd and figure out what works and what doesn't work.
Right. And then they do like shows, like they work like 300 days a year or something like that.
Yeah, like WWE's on the road 300 days a year. But like TNA, which is now Impact Wrestling, they're not on the road as much. AEW only has 2 days a week.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it's time for you to get back into pro wrestling.
I don't know, man. I'm too old now. My body's all beat up.
Chris Jericho's in his 50s, and he's doing great.
Well, because he's been active and doing all this.
Doing it for 30 plus years.
He knows how to take the fall and stuff. Maybe if they have me coming in as like, what you call it, one of those bodyguards, enforcers, let me beat up on people every now and then.
Yeah.
And, I do that. That's fun.
It was big news when you signed with TNA.
It was big news, and I was so disappointed they didn't use me like I thought they was going to use me.
Like your debut is you nose to nose with Kurt Angle. Like, incredible.
Dude, that broke the internet for me.
Yeah. Then what happened from there?
I don't want to talk bad about TNA, but if I'm going to keep it 100 like I always try to do, I just think they stupid.
In what way? That they didn't give you the time to train, or what?
Well, they were supposed to train me. They sent the ring to my gym. I had my own gym at the time, but they never sent anybody over to train me, and they never put the time in to train me. I was serious about it. Who knows? I probably would have left MMA and been like Ronda Rousey or somebody by now.
Well, there's so much of what you did in the octagon that felt really pro wrestling inspired. Like your entrance, the yell, even the name Rampage, like all of that is like pro wrestling written all over it.
Yeah, I was made for pro wrestling.
You were, which also made you such a massive star in UFC.
Yeah. You're right.
But it's crazy to think that you were signed to TNA and you didn't even end up having a match there.
Not even one match.
Do you still want to have a pro wrestling match?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. You know what? I did do something with WWE though when I promoted
with the
that.
A-team.
Yeah. Man, I had so much fun. Like the Big Show, everybody was real cool with me and stuff like that. But nobody would let me powerbomb them though. I was kind of disappointed in that.
The fact that you pulled off a powerbomb in Pride is pretty much unbelievable.
That was a Hail Mary. I had to end that fight. That guy, if he would have kicked me one more time, I couldn't pretend like I wasn't in pain.
But you picked him up like he weighed nothing.
Yeah, that's the wolf. I lost my temper. That was on my 26th birthday. I lost my temper because Ricardo Arona, he had we had some history. I was supposed to fight him in the Grand Prix in a tournament, but he last minute acted like he got hurt and got his friend, his teammate in there, Murillo Bustamante. And Murillo Bustamante was a black belt at jiu-jitsu like him, but they were two separate type of fighters. So I trained for Arona. I didn't train for Murillo, and I didn't find out I was fighting somebody different until I got to Japan. And in the rules, when your opponent changed at that short of notice, they're supposed to give you a lesser opponent, but they didn't. Murillo was a champion at that time. He had left UFC a champion, and so I saw Ricardo coming out of the 7-Eleven, like when I got to Japan, day before I had to cut weight or something like that. And he was just walking out of 7-Eleven. As soon as he saw me, he's like, oh. Then he started limping. He had like 2 Band-Aids and an X on his knee. I was like, oh man, this guy faking. And so I knew what he did. They were just trying to get their teammate into Pride, because Pride was the biggest show on the planet at the time. So fast forward, I ended up beating Murillo Bustamante, but he almost guillotined me. I almost lost that fight. So I'm fighting Ricardo Arona. This is the only time in the history of fighting I ever lost my temper in a fight. And we're fighting, and I already was mad at him because he did that to me, but he started heeling me in my face, kicking me in my face with a heel, and that was hard. And I went down so he could miss me, right? And he told the referee, oh, he's knocked out. He's knocked out. And he dislocated my jaw with one of the heels. My jaw was like out of hinge a little bit. And so that pissed me off. And then when he said that, told the referee, like, oh, he's knocked out. He's knocked out. See, those referees over there, they didn't like me. And they used to always give me yellow cards and stuff like that. So I didn't trust the referees. If the referee was on his shit, he could have just called the fight right then. And he could have believed it like I was knocked out. So that pissed me off. And if you go back and watch that fight, it was right after that when I powerbombed him.
Were you trying to powerbomb him?
Yeah, I was trying to put him through. I knew. And guess what? This is how stupid he is. All he had to do was let go of my head.
Seriously.
That's all he had to do. Like people saying, like, oh, just wrap the arm around the leg. All you got to do is let go.
It looked dangerous. Like some people have been knocked out for moves like that.
Yeah. But you know what? I got a lot of shit for that. People say I headbutted him. That's not true. When he got knocked out, it was so hard that it knocked him out instantly, and his head came back and got me in the eye.
Oh, you still have a scar?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, it was like 20 stitches, 30 stitches, 15 on the inside.
Wow.
15 on the out.
Is that the highlight that people go back to the most?
Yeah,
The Wanderlei knockouts.
Yeah, the Wanderlei knockout is my favorite one though.
Why is that?
The first one, because I always knew I could beat Wanderlei, but Wanderlei gave me two of the worst ass whoopings of my life. But I always knew I could beat him because the first two times when I was training for Wanderlei, it's just my team. I had a young team at the time. I was on Team Oyama, and you know my Muay Thai coach, he was really good. He was solid, but he couldn't spar with me, and so I'm sparring with jiu-jitsu guys, and we had like one heavyweight on the team, and he couldn't fuck with me. He couldn't deal with me, so he would always like be running out of the ring. He don't want to spar, so I'm sparring with jiu-jitsu guys, you know, training for a guy that's named the Axe Murderer. So I just didn't have the right training. But then the last two times when I trained with them, I had some really good teammates. I had some really good sparring. I had some really good sparring partners.
MMA wasn't what it is now when you were coming up. So how did you first find out about what it is?
When I first found out about MMA?
Yeah. Or like maybe the first time you watched the UFC.
I remember watching the UFC.
Like on VHS or something?
Yeah, back at college. One of my college high school wrestling coaches was doing he was fighting in UFC. His name is Fedor Emelianenko. He retired he retired before the UFC got mainstream, but he's a UFC veteran, one of the pioneers. So he was training for the UFC. That's when I learned about it.
And that's before you were training for MMA?
I was in wrestling. I was in college.
Wrestling.
I was college wrestling, and he was fighting. He was one of the coaches in college, and he was training for the UFC. So we would help him wrestle, and he would put us in like arm locks and stuff, right? So then I was like, "What the fuck is he doing?" Then they showed me. I'm like, "Oh, that's what it is." And I saw Horace Gracie and what's his name? Chemo.
Kimbo, right?
No, Chemo.
Oh, Chemo. Yeah.
Chemo.
You came out with the cross.
Yeah.
Yes.
Saw him. And I saw Joe's son, that dude that from the Austin Powers movie.
Yeah, and that was back when
he
Ken
was
Shamrock
James
was doing
Bond's
his
movie.
thing. Yeah.
He was getting the dude that got hit in the nuts. I saw that. I was like, what the hell is this?
The UFC back then was the wild, wild west.
It was the wild, wild west. And so I got injured in college, and I went home, healed up. And one of my old teammates that I used to wrestle against in high school, man, his coach was really good friends. So me and him, we knew each other. We was friends. We became really good friends. And he wanted me to help him train for a fight. I was, wrestling. He took me to the gym, and he took me to a fight. And I saw this guy, like the champion of Memphis. He put a guy in the armbar triangle choke, and he he tapped the guy and pushed his foot on his face and kicked him off. And I was like, man, I'd like to fight that guy. And I didn't know what I was talking. I just never liked, dicks and stuff like that. I just thought he was a dick. But he actually a good guy. I saw him last time I was here. He Mike Powell, he UFC veteran as well. Yeah, and I thought he was a dick, but he's not. He's actually a good guy. And I ended up fighting like a couple of weeks later. They I go back to the gym, stuff like that, and he was like, "Hey, you still want to fight?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll fight." Like, when? It was like, 3 days.
3 days.
Yeah. I was like, who? They was like, remember that guy you saw you want to fight? Here's your chance. I was like, damn. I spoke too soon, so I couldn't back out, right? So I fought him 3 days notice, and I ended up winning by decision.
Man, what did you think you were going to end up doing for a living? If it wasn't pro wrestling, if you didn't find MMA, what were you going to college for?
I went to college just to wrestle. I went to college just because I
majored in wrestling.
Yeah, I wasn't going to college to go to school because I already knew where I was going to be. My family owned construction companies back home in Memphis. All my brothers and cousins, everybody do construction. So I figured pretty much that's what I was going to be. But I had just started wrestling when I turned 17, right? So I had just started. So when I turned 18 in Tennessee, you can't wrestle. I got lucky to some college saw me. They thought I could make their wrestlers tougher. I wasn't good at anything. So I just go into college, just keep wrestling.
Wow. I don't think there's anybody in MMA who has a scarier stare down than you.
Yeah, that's crazy. I grew up with a real hard childhood. I'm like the white sheet of my family. And what I'm saying? So I was always in a bad mood, and I always like frowning and stuff like that. So I think that's probably why I got like a mean face, because I feel like I'm one of the nicest people in the world. And
hey, you're very nice.
Yeah, but a lot of people say I look mean and stuff. So it goes with it. But real talk though, when I am two people. A lot of people don't understand that though. So I am two people.
What do you mean?
I'm Quinton and I'm Rampage. So So a lot of times when I fight in the stare down, it's Rampage staring at you. It ain't Quinton. I just like to tell jokes and laugh and fuck bitch. I mean, I can't say that. I like to have fun.
What do most people call you? Rampage, right?
A lot of people do. A lot of people call me Rampage, but some people call me Quinton. I don't tell people what to call me. People call me whatever they feel comfortable with.
Right.
Yeah.
Did the stare down immediately always become one of your trademarks?
I had no idea. It was just I just know that it's one of the first fights between you and your opponent, like the stare down. That's one of the first fights, and I don't like losing fights.
Can you tell by looking in someone's eye if they have it or not, if you're going to win or not?
No, I wish I could, but a lot of times you can tell if they're scared. But if I'm gonna be honest, I hate fighting scared people.
Well, Jon Jones said he was scared to fight you.
Yeah.
Jon Jones said he had nightmares leading up to that fight.
Yeah, I hate fighting scared people because they get an extra boost of adrenaline.
Could you tell when you looked him in the eye he was scared?
Yeah, I knew he was scared. I knew he was scared because he didn't want to do the stare down. That's why you look at some pictures, I turned my back to him and stuff and joke around because he never want to look me in the eyes. I knew Jon was scared. That fight, that's the only fight in my career where I've been like almost close to 100%. And none of my injuries hurt, and I trained really hard where I was like overconfident. I thought I was going to beat the shit out of that kid. I really thought I was.
Is that the loss that hurts the most?
No, that's not the one that hurt the most. Jon Jones turned out to be like the one of the best fighters in the world, you know.
Yeah.
And he got me with one of my most weaknesses, the rear naked choke. That's not the one that hurt me the most. My last fight is the one that hurt me the most.
Against Fedor.
That's the one that hurts me the most.
Why is that?
Out of my whole career, that was like the most embarrassing, and it was like the worst. It was the worst fight ever that I ever had, and Bellator even thought that I didn't train for that fight. I know it looked like I didn't, but I actually trained harder for that fight than I did in years. I just did different type of training. I trained with a different team, and I did different type of stuff that I don't normally do. But I did train really hard for that fight. It's just that my health just wasn't right, and it was a surprise to me. I wasn't even. I looked really big. I was really bloated and everything, and I wasn't even that bloated when I got to Japan for that fight. It was just really bad. It's like one of those things where you think like, did somebody put some voodoo on me? Because how in the hell did I blow up? Like, how did I get this bloated?
Yeah.
Like right before my fight. It was like one of those things.
Speaking of Jon Jones, what do you think about his next match?
Oh,
it's so interesting that he's getting a title shot at heavyweight, and he's never fought at heavyweight before.
Yeah, that is. But it's like I said, it's Jon Jones.
I know, I get it. He's one of the best of all time.
Yeah, I think that Jon Jones wrestling is going to make him victorious. I think that
if we get the Jon Jones who fought you, man,
Jon
I feel like it's another story.
Jon Jones is a great fighter, but I'm gonna be 100. Even if you stand in this room, I said, but he's the dirtiest fighter ever. He's the dirtiest fighter ever, and the guy's so smart. He does the most dirtiest things. Like I know they changed the gloves just because of Jon Jones. I don't know if you knows they changed the design of the gloves so you can't hold your hand like this no more. The gloves they formed them so they curve so you don't have your hand. So if you fight Jon Jones before they got the gloves, if you doing anything good on him, and he's gonna put his fingers in you, he's gonna poke you in the eye. And then if you advancing on you doing anything good, you get the advantage. You're gonna kick your knee backwards. For one, I think that knee kick, they call it like an oblique kick, whatever. He's kicking you right on your kneecap, kick in the back. I think that should be banned. And I kept asking the referee to I'm like, get his fingers out my eye. We're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And because those two things that you can end somebody's career. Because if you detach my retina,
yep,
this career, you messed my knee up really bad. Like my knee is still messed up from that.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That fight. Wow.
Yeah, my knee is still messed up from that fight.
Wow.
Because it hyperextended. He kicked it all the way back. Like you can end people's careers with those moves. So yeah, Jon Jones, he's good. He don't even have to do that. Go back and watch this fight. Think about all those spinning elbows he used to do in the beginning. Where did they land? Do you remember?
Where'd they land?
On the back of people's head.
That's true. Yeah. Now that you think about it, yeah.
It's illegal. Jon Jones is like the dirtiest fighter. So
Are you not cool with Jon Jones?
No, I'm cool with Jon Jones.
Okay.
When I see Jon Jones, we cool. Last time I saw.
Stick your fingers in his eyes now.
Oh yeah. It's a side of me that want to do stuff. It's a side of me that want to do stuff to Jon Jones. It is. I'm gonna keep it real. It's a side of me that.
You never got a rematch either.
No, I never got a rematch.
Yeah.
It's a side of me that every time. And like I used to have a Lambo, and I used to get in and out of the Lambo. Every time I used to get in and out of the Lambo, I used to be in a lot of pain. I used to think like, man, I want to smack the shit out of Jon Jones. It's a side of me, but then it's like I always had honor when I fought. I want to be the best fighter on the day. I want to win the fight clean. But I know that every fighter's not like me, so I can't get mad at him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't get mad at him for that, but it's just me. But now my son is fighting. If like somebody did that shit to my son, I don't know what would happen because I can't control my temper sometimes. Right? I don't know if I would jump in the cage and go out. Somebody kick my son knee backwards or poke my son. I don't know. But me, I don't love myself as much as I love my son. So it's just different. You know what I'm saying?
When you talk about that temper, you versus that door on The Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, that's the most embarrassing TV moment for me.
Really?
Yeah,
that's iconic.
I was so embarrassed about that.
You shredded that door in like 3 seconds.
It was a cheap ass door, though. It was a cheap ass door, thank God. But even if it wasn't a cheap, the door, I was leaving the room because they was cheating my teammates. I mean, my fighter. I was coaching, and those guys, they put their life. They was like they're making a break for their life, right? So those guys was telling me a whole bunch of stuff. It's like with me, everything adds up. I'm not just people don't understand this about me. Even girls that date me, they don't understand this about me. When you do something to me, it adds up. It adds up. It adds up. I'm not gonna like go after you for the first little thing you do to me. It's gonna add up. It's gonna add up, and then after a while, then I just boom. And this might not be healthy because when I do explode, like wow, you're like, damn, you think I exploded on you for this one little thing? But it's been all the shit that you've done to me. So my fighters have been telling me like, man, I can't get like good food. I can't get chicken. I can't get this. I can't get this because in the show you got to write down. You can't go nowhere. You got to write down on the paper what you want.
Yeah.
And they said if I write down alcohol, if I write down a bottle of vodka or something, they go and get it within an hour. But I would put on chicken and be like 2 days, no chicken. I need veggies. This
because they want them to be drunk during the reality show.
And the other team though, they said, oh no, they whatever they want, they get it right away. And then the first time I did it with Forrest, I'm be real, I'm be 100. I thought it was a race thing. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes black people we feel like that when we shouldn't, but sometimes we do. When sometimes if we're not treated fair, we automatically think, oh, this is a race thing. But then I found out on the second season it's not a race thing because Rashad Evans black too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Then I found out it's a Ultimate Fighter thing because he's from the Ultimate Fighter. So they wanted him to win. Gotcha. They wanted his team to win. So they were treating my fighters like shit. And that fight, it was a really close fight. And, my memory is bad. I've been punched a million times. I can't remember exactly who was fighting. But it was a really close fight, and I've been fighting for 20 years. I know that my guy, if he's going to go to somebody, should have went to my guy. If not, it should have been, they should at least draw extra round, whatnot. It shouldn't have went to Rashad Evans' guy. And they gave it to his guy. So I'm like, I saw myself, I know what it's like when I'm finna lose my temper. So I try to leave the room. So I'm leaving the room because I know what was going to, I didn't know what I was going to do. Because I don't know what I was going to do, but I knew I was going to leave. I knew I needed to leave this room. And I remember throwing the bottle of water, and that's when like when I did that, I tried to open the door, and the door closed back. It was like a little bent, it closed back on me. I'm like, oh, fuck this door. And that's what happened. And I always get embarrassed when I lose my temper. I'm always embarrassed about it because I do like the most fucked up shit, and that door had it coming.
It's a great clip.
Yeah, if it would have just opened and not bounced back on me,
that door would still be standing.
It'd still be alive.
Yeah.
Fuck that door.
Did they have to replace the door immediately?
Yeah.
Like, Rampage, stay away from the door.
Yeah, I think it took them like a day or two to replace it. I remember it was weird. I don't know if I think I put more holes in the walls in the office. I don't know. I can't remember, but yeah, we didn't have a door there for like a day or so.
It's such a funny clip.
Yeah, you know what? Today is my first time seeing a funny version on Twitter, and I actually retweeted it. It's the first time I even fucked with that image because they I don't know what they the computer, they put me somewhere else different.
I'm gonna look at this.
Yeah, I just retweeted
it's on your Twitter?
Yeah, and
okay.
I saw that, and honestly, this is my first time actually kind of like laugh. I was like, what the fuck? It wasn't even in the ultimate. They had me beating up the door, and they like photoshopped something. Yeah,
this is someone else beating. Oh no, is that it?
Yeah, but that's not.
We all hate nuke door.
Oh, so that's like Call of Duty or something. It's not the studio. It's not the place. So I thought that was funny. They put me in a different place.
I love that you retweeted it.
Yeah, that's my first time fucking with
Hey, you retweeted me. Thank you. I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see that.
Twitter's weird, though. I don't understand the new Twitters.
I don't either.
You can't see all the stuff.
And everything on my feed now is people I don't follow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, what the hell is that?
I thought I was going crazy.
Me too.
Now I'm getting naked bitches on my I'm like, hold on, I don't follow this naked big titty bitch.
But I'm not really upset about it.
No, I wasn't upset about it. I just had to look through her pictures and, you know.
And then you're like, well, I might as well follow her if she's here, you know.
I think that's what it is. Like whatever you be looking at, I think they try to learn your algorithm.
Like when you go to that the Explore page on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm sure yours is just boobs.
Yeah, bunch of chicks, cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine's just all the stuff my wife sends me now because we're having a baby, so it's like all this kid stuff.
Yeah, see, that's gonna soften you up. See,
I gotta beat some doors up.
Yeah, you gotta let the inner man come out every now and then.
I'm having a girl too. I'm just gonna be so soft.
Yeah, you're gonna be super soft, bro.
You have a daughter?
I have a daughter. She yeah, you're gonna be soft. My daughter changed me, bro. Cause I got 3 boys, right? And then my youngest is a daughter, and it's like, oh man, she changed me. She changed it, but she changed me for the best. So now it's like you kind of think about karma. When you think about dogging out a girl, you're like, I don't want.
I think about that. I think the reason I'm having a girl is because of karma.
Yeah, like you don't want some guy doing to your daughter what you're gonna do to her. Yeah. So yeah.
Does Rampage ever come out with your sons? Because I'm guessing you're just Quinton with your daughter.
Yeah. No, I'm Quinton with my kids. I have a great relationship with my kids. My 2 youngest ones, like we bump heads every now and then. But you know what? My son is fighting. One time Rampage came out to him because that motherfucker sucker punched me like 2 years ago, I think.
What?
He sucker punched me, bro.
Does he know who he's messing with?
Man, he was out of his mind. He sucker punched me.
Then what happened?
I beat the shit out of him. I had to defend myself. I beat the shit out of him. But then, you know what? I lost my temper and stuff. Because when he sucker punched me, he rocked me. And it was dangerous because it was like a big wooden table. I got like this old antique 100-year-old door from India somewhere. And they turned it into a table. If I would have failed and hit that, I probably would have been dead or hurt or something. I don't know. And because, you know, when you get sucker punched, the punch you don't see, that's the one that knocks you out. So he rocked me, and then I just went into like fight mode, and I didn't think that he was my son or nothing. It was just primal. I beat the fuck out of him. But then I was beating him. He was bleeding out the nose. Then I came to, and he kept trying to fight me. He said he could beat me up. He thought he could beat me up because I was old, out of shape. And I guillotined. He's the first person I ever put to sleep with a guillotine, because normally I don't get people in guillotines.
Were you just fighting over something stupid?
Well, I don't want to put his business.
Yeah, you don't have to.
I don't want to put his business out there, but my son needed my help doing something, but he didn't want my help, and so he thought that he knew best, and he thought that he could take me. So he sucker punched me. But my other kids are, we never had any problem.
So just Quinton, you're a softie with them.
Well, I'm not super. I think I am kind of softer on my kids, because my two older kids, I raised them by myself since they was little. My oldest son, he's 23. I got custody of him when he was 3. His mom was a deadbeat, and then my other son Raja, I got him when he was 6. His mom, she straight up, and she passed away. Now she got murdered not too long ago, and so I had him, since he was 6. Thank God I got him. And so I was married at first, but when I got my son Roger, the one that sucker punched me, my ex-wife like, nah, choose me or him. I had to choose my son, and she left me. She dipped. So I'm like, fuck. So I'm a single parent with 2 kids fighting in Japan.
Yeah.
And so I think I kind of babied them a little bit too much, because I felt like it was normal for, we grew up in America without our dads being there, but it's not normal for your mom to be a deadbeat. So I feel like I kind of babied them a little bit too much. So I don't know, because my 2 younger kids, they're straight A students. They're like in honors. They speak 2 languages, and my so it's like ever since they was little, your kids. I was like, my 2 younger kids, I'm gonna save up a lot of money for their college fee, college money saving, so they go want college, and they go need tuition and all this stuff. And my 2 oldest kids, I was like, I'm just gonna save a lot of money for bail money and attorney fees, because these motherfuckers, they wild. My 2 oldest ones, they wild. They just had me growing, taking care of them. And I was like busy trying to provide for all 4 of my kids, and then I still took care of my mom, my dad, and my ex and everything. So I was busy working, fighting, and raising these 2 boys.
What do you think is the biggest lesson that fighting taught you?
Oh, I feel like life is a fight. Life is a fight, and that's the lesson I learned. Like you got to fight every day, because it's like, and fighting, you got to be real disciplined. And in this world, you got to be real disciplined, because there's a lot of evil people here. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of hating people. There's a lot of drugs. A lot of things that get you off your path. I feel like, you could be a positive person, or you could be a negative person. It's just all about discipline, and you just got to fight every day for what you want, because I feel like ain't nothing given to you. You know what I'm saying? You ain't going to just go out and step in the octagon, and this guy just going to lay down for you. You know what I'm saying? You got to go out there and take it. You got to win that fight. Yeah. And every day is a fight. You got to make sure you do the right thing. Think about it. You just got to be in a certain mental place, because think about all these people that's in prison. Think about they go to a Walmart, they go to a liquor store, they drinking, they doing something, and somebody says something stupid, and they get in the fight, or they kill somebody, they stab somebody, they drunk driving, kill people, kill your friends, kill yourself. You got to stay disciplined. Life is a fight. You gotta try to win the fight every day, and that's what I learned. I just feel like every day is a fight for me, but that might just be my life because of where I came from.
Yeah. What do you think has been the biggest change in MMA since you started? Because it's changed and shifted a lot.
Oh my God, this sport has evolved so much. When I first started fighting MMA, I like to say I was like the second wave of pioneers. There was, pioneers before me, like Dunn Fry and Horace Gracie, Ken Shamrock, and all those guys, and even Tito Ortiz and
Chuck.
A lot of those guys, Kevin Randeman, all those guys. Mark Coleman, Mark Kerr, all those guys, they were the first pioneers. Boss Rudin, all those guys, right? And then, because my wave, we was kind of like them, we came into the sport knowing one art, but then we started training jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai and wrestling, right? So my wave of pioneers. That's what we came to the sport knowing one art. So I was a wrestler. I came in. Then I knew what worked from watching the UFC. What everybody knew. Everybody started training Muay Thai, wrestling, and jiu-jitsu. Nobody was really training boxing, karate, taekwondo, none of that stuff. And so now what has changed is these kids and these people coming in now, they already know all three arts. They already coming in, already mixed martial artists before they even, before they even go to their first amateur fight or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I fought like 5 or 6 fights. Well, I didn't even start training Muay Thai until after my first fight in Pride. So I had hit pads and hit the bag and stuff.
Yeah.
I never had like a stand-up coach. So I started training jiu-jitsu and my wrestling, and I went and fought all the way to Pride, not even knowing
you had power in your hands.
Not even knowing. Yeah.
So much power in your hands.
Yeah, didn't even know. I never had a stand-up coach.
Wow.
And so now these kids, before their first amateur fight, they already, well-rounded in 3 arts.
I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on Jake Paul because he's putting a lot of eyes on combat sports right now.
Yeah, Jake Paul is actually really good for. I think it was him that revived. What's the word? Revised boxing. What's
Revitalized?
the word? Revitalized boxing.
Yeah, he's only been a pro for 3 years.
Yeah, I give him that. He put eyes back on boxing, and it's like entertainment. He's bringing entertainment. A lot of people was bored during the pandemic, and he gave a lot of people entertainment, which is always a positive thing in my eyes because I love entertaining people. And
but up to this point, he hasn't fought a boxer.
No, he hasn't.
So now he's got Tommy Fury in like 4 weeks.
He's going to beat the shit out of Tommy Fury because and nothing against Tommy Fury. I got nothing against him. I look up to his brother and everything, but I thought Tommy Fury was going to. I was rooting for him to beat Jake Paul as well. I just want to see him fight a real boxer and get beat. I'm sorry, because I'm a fan of his. I like it, but he beat too many MMA fighters, right? So I'm like, now he done shit the bed with me. And then I looked at Fury. I was like, oh my God, that guy suck.
You don't think Tommy Fury's good?
No. I think Jake Paul is gonna beat him too.
So then Jake Paul wins this fight. Then what does he do?
If Jake Paul is smart as I think he's smart, he keep doing what he's doing.
Sounds like he's gonna go into MMA.
I don't know if he should do that unless he brings the same model that he's doing. See, people don't notice what he's doing. I don't know if I should, put him out there for it.
Beating people, he's fighting people he knows he can beat.
Yeah, it's simple.
Everybody knows that.
Well, what? Oh, okay. Then what's the problem?
I think and this is no disrespect to Ben Askren, who's an incredible world-class wrestler and had so much domination in the fights that he had, but he's not a boxer.
Right.
So I think when you look at that fight on paper, you're like, oh, it's really going to be difficult for Ben Askren to win that fight.
Right. I wasn't surprised about. I was surprised that Ben Askren got knocked out so fast.
I was surprised they called that fight when they did.
Right.
I thought Ben Askren could have kept going. Ben Askren didn't get knocked down to the ground.
Oh, I must be.
Ben Askren was like on his feet, and they kind of went, "Okay, it's over."
Oh, okay. Because I'm thinking about.
Woodley.
No. I'm thinking about Ben Askren when he got knocked out that flying knee.
Oh.
That's the image I still have in my head. My bad. I was like, my forehead. I was like, oh, I'm like, damn, was he flat up? But that's, like I said, I've been punched a lot, so my mind is. but Woodley, my boy Tyron, I was surprised. I thought Tyron was going to beat him, and I was kind of disappointed because
the first fight was close. The one that went to decision.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Tyron Woodley, and I thought that Tyron was going to be the one to get him.
But then, he got flatlined in that second fight.
Yeah. I low key thought that that was a work though, but people tell me I'm wrong, so I kept my mouth shut.
I think there's no way that they could fake that.
I'm gonna tell you this right now. I know that there's been fake fights in MMA. I know that.
In UFC?
No, never. I never seen a fake fight in the UFC.
In Pride?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
To make money on the money
It's
line?
just entertainment. Pride was all about entertainment. So a lot of those pro wrestlers, a lot of those Japanese fighters, they were pro wrestlers.
Yeah.
So some of those fights was was fake, right? And I've seen fighters like I've seen people I've seen them hit each other for real, but it's a fake fight. I've seen it. And fighters, like we're a different breed. Like people don't understand this. We're a different breed. And this is what I feel. I could be 100% wrong, but I felt like Tyron knew he was going to get hit, but he probably just didn't know he was going to get knocked out. You understand what I'm saying?
I just think with the commission involved, you can't make this. I don't think.
I guess you're right, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying you just got to make it look good. You got to get hit for real.
That was a hell of a knockout.
Yeah, but you got to say me and you fight, and you say, listen, Rampage, I'm gonna give you $10 million to take a dive, but we got to make it. I'm just saying, I'm just hypothetical.
Yeah, I got you. And of course, no one's gonna believe that I would beat you.
Right.
Yes.
Right. But we just said,
okay.
and you got to pay. You gonna pay me $10 million to take a dive, but you said, hey, but it got to look good though. I got to really hit you. I'm like, fuck, I get hit all the time. Okay, and then you know that you're gonna hit me. I know that you're gonna hit me, but you know you're gonna knock me the fuck out. See, I'm thinking I'm just gonna get hit, then I gotta fall down. Boxers do that shit all the time. They're journeymen in boxing. People do that shit all the time. So it's just probably me being such a big fan of Tyron that I want to believe that he took a dive instead of like really got knocked out, because I saw when Jake turned his glove and Willie dropped his hand. He did it twice, and then that just don't sit well with me. So I'm sorry.
I feel like Jake did that a bunch of times during the fight.
Well, you could be right. I don't know. I could be just like drinking the Kool-Aid off people off TikTok.
There's a lot of people on TikTok that have that same theory.
Yeah, I know, man. Shit, TikTok turned me into a flat earther, so I don't know.
No,
yeah.
Stop it. No.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Only just because of TikTok.
Oh.
I'm joking, bro.
I know.
So I got to, you know what I'm saying? I love space.
I saw you promoting UFL the other day.
Yeah.
And I love it. Harrison Rogers here, who started United Fight League, and you're giving health coverage, health benefits to the fighters, which is absolutely unheard of.
Unheard of. I'm going to tell you something. When I heard Harrison Rogers, when I heard his plan, what he wanted to do with his league, I was like, man, how can I be involved? Whatever you need me to do. I want my son to fight there. I'm kind of low-key jealous that this wasn't around when I was first starting out. This is what this sport needs, like somebody to really be for the fighters. And not only is he giving life insurance, health insurance, he's also giving them a stake in the company.
Yeah, and paying out dividends on profit.
Yeah, and
that's unheard of. Unheard of, Harrison. Unheard of.
Unheard of. It's like some people probably think it's too good to be true, but I think
that's one of the biggest things. I think one of the biggest things that people are saying is it's too good to be true. That can't actually be real, and if it is, there's no way that can last.
So this is what I'm doing. Harrison is letting me film this and show it to people on their YouTube channel. I'm gonna be going around America looking for my own team because I know what's coming. See, y'all don't know what's coming. I know what's coming. I'm gonna have my own team, and I'm gonna go out and look for these fighters that I want to be on my team, and once all this stuff get going, everybody's gonna be like, wow, they're gonna be blown away.
Where's your gym gonna be?
I get a gym in Orange County.
Okay.
And
I'll have to come by.
Yeah, it's gonna be like an NBA style team, you know. And we're gonna have a cool name, cool logo. I don't want to get nothing in the way right now. And my team, you know, my style gonna be different from everybody because I'm different from everybody. I'm even gonna have my own ring girls like cheerleaders. I'm gonna do it big because I really believe in this, and he already started his own brands and stuff, and he's giving them a stake in that all together. So all these guys, they're gonna be eating well. All these it's like up and comers, right? When they first start going like when they first start turning pro, that level like that, you know. So it's not like UFC level and fighters and stuff.
Yeah. The interesting thing about choosing the profession of professional fighter is the upside is massive. You could make a ton of money. You could be super successful and well known. The downside is also massive because when you're starting out, you're barely making any money, and you're putting your health at risk,
right.
CTE and everything like that. So it's amazing that you know when you fall in love with the fight game, you're in love with it,
right?
And you get bit by that bug. But the upside is huge. The downside is also huge.
Right. I agree with you. When you first starting out, you need something like this. You know, this is what you need. Like a company that's giving you shares and they pay you a dividend, and even when you're not fighting, you in between fights and you getting a check, and it'd be smart for those guys just to. I think Harrison is a genius. I know why he's doing it because I got to know Harrison before I jumped all the way in. I peeped him out, and he's a good guy. He really means what he say. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it real. That's all I could do. I know what he really wants to do with his company and stuff. So these guys, this is what they need. They need something like this, and it's genius what he's doing because they're going to promote the crap out of the brands and everything. Because if they're smart, because they're going to make more money because they have a piece of it, right?
Sure, yeah.
So I think it's smart, and it's smart, but it also shows that he's not greedy.
Well, it also shows that the company's looking out for you.
That's what, yeah. It shows the company look out for you, not greedy, and it's actually, if you really think about it, it's fucking genius. If you really think about it, it's fucking genius. But only greedy people won't get it. They won't. Why don't I get them a piece of my? They don't get it.
I wonder if there'll ever be any sort of fight union in boxing or anywhere else.
I doubt it because boxing has been around for over 100 years.
Yeah,
and they never had one. I think Muhammad Ali wanted to.
He talked about it.
Yeah, he wanted to start something. See, football players, they get a pension when they retire. They get money, right? Basketball players, baseball players.
Yeah, they've got a union.
They got a union, right? They've
got the Players Association.
Yeah. MMA.
They also go on strike when there's problems.
Right. Yeah. We don't do that. Like I don't think that MMA fighters. I don't think that we could go on strike because say we all went on strike, there'd be like 100 more guys want to fight in the UFC. Like
100%.
Dude, some people fight in the UFC just to say they fought in the UFC.
Yeah.
I don't know how true this is, but I've heard of people fighting the UFC for little to no pay because they
still.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because they want to fight in the UFC, dude. I remember the UFC used to have like the behind the scenes, all the workers and stuff there working for them.
Yeah.
That they got them where they are, and then next thing you know, when they got real popular, it's people that how many hundreds of people it takes to make the show operate.
Of course, yeah.
Some of those people that work there now, they're fans of the sport, and they work for half price of what the other people used to get paid because they want to work for the UFC. So they've gotten that name to that point. I understand that, but hopefully, people will understand what Harrison is doing. I think it was grow, and then I think it will make other leagues step their game up.
Yeah,
and then it'll be the norm that.
Rising tide lifts all ships.
Yeah.
They're going to see what's happening here, and they're going to have to step up.
Yeah.
What's the least amount of money that you've ever fought for?
Oh, the least amount of money? What? $500? My first 2 professional fights, I made $500.
500 to win?
500 flat.
Whether you won or lost, you made $500.
Yeah. Because my first professional fight, I lost.
What's the most amount of money you've made in a fight?
I don't want to say.
Tell me what fight it was. Can you tell me which opponent it is?
I probably, with pay-per-view and everything, I probably made my most money on Chuck Liddell.
Okay.
Millions.
Wow. I could see that. Getting a cut of the gate, getting a cut of the pay-per-view.
Yeah. It was, I don't want to say the number, but
you don't have to say the number.
It was over $5 million.
Wow.
Because of the pay-per-view.
Wow. Which makes me wonder, what are guys like Conor making?
Oh, shit. Connor's probably making 20, 30, 40 million now. But you know what? My pay-per-view deal was a mistake to the UFC. I can't say too much. I don't want them to sue me, but I can say allegedly, right?
Sure.
Okay. Allegedly, somehow they changed my contract without me knowing because I know I didn't know because I wouldn't sign that damn new contract because my pay-per-view was so good because they bought my contract. When they bought WFA, they brought organization just to get me to fight Chuck Liddell. So they had to use my contract that was already in play, right? So they had to give me the purse that was on the contract, and they had to give me the pay-per-view number. WFA gave me a crazy pay-per-view deal because they knew they wasn't going to have pay-per-view.
Yeah.
My dumb ass signed. I'm like, they're going to make all this money. They was like a little small show. They was trying to, And they knew they wasn't going to have no pay-per-view, and it was a crazy pay-per-view deal. Crazy. And so when I fought Chuck, they had to give me all that pay-per-view money, and then you go back and watch my fights. My next 2 fights was on TV. They didn't
because you had the pay-per-view deal.
Because I had that pay-per-view deal. And then next thing you know, when I finally go back to fight on pay-per-view, I look at my check, I'm like, oh, what the fuck is this? And I look at it, then I talked to them, they was like, oh, no, you're not on that pay-per-view deal no more. I'm like, what the fuck? How did this change? And I had a incompetent manager at the time. And so I don't know, I'm going to say this allegedly, I don't know if they was in cahoots with my manager and they gave my manager something to change it, or they just tricked my manager. And then so I don't know the contract, and they showed me everything. And I was like, oh, fuck. I got fucked.
What movie do you make the most residuals from now? Some mailbox money every few months. You go, oh, that's pretty good.
I can't even say, man. I'd be getting like 50-cent checks from A-Team. I don't know. I'd be like little TV shows. I'd be getting, my residual checks be so small. I use them for like, what you call that, law of attraction shit. I'd be putting millions of dollars on there and putting it on so I can see it. I don't even cash them.
But for every 50-cent check you make for the A-Team, you've probably got one that's $500.
I don't think I ever got a residual check that was $500.
Really?
I don't think so. I don't remember.
I was in a few movies in 2013 and 2014. I still get residuals to this day.
For real?
Yeah, but they're for like $9, $6.
You know what? I have gotten like residual checks for like $100, $40. I never gotten.
You were one of the stars of that movie,
bro. You know how it is in Hollywood. They thought they was doing me a favor. I actually lost money doing that movie.
What do you mean?
Well, I make millions of dollars when I fight. You think my first movie they're gonna pay me millions of dollars?
Probably not.
And then I did like a press tour. The movie took what was it, took 6 months, 3 months. Let me think. It's been 15 years almost now. The movie took 3 months to film, 3 to 6 months, I can't remember. Then the tour was like 4 months.
So you're saying you could have had a fight or two during that time?
I could have had 2 or 3 fights. I lost money doing it, but I don't.
You got to work with Liam Neeson,
right? I love it. That's my guy. I'm not all about money. I don't love money, but I know it makes the world go around. That's one thing about me. I don't love it, but I don't regret doing that movie. But I didn't do it for money, so I lost money doing that movie.
What do you think you learned from? I mean, you were with some heavy hitters in that movie. Liam Neeson, Bradley Cooper.
Oh yeah.
What do you think you learned from them that made you a better actor?
Oh man, I learned so much. I learned so much from them. One thing I learned from Liam is I noticed that after we shot a lot of scenes and stuff like that, Bradley Cooper and a couple other actors, like Chateau Copley, he was there. They would go look at the what you call it?
The dailies.
Yeah, they would go right there look at the dailies and stuff.
And monitor the.
Yeah, they would go look and see how they did.
Video Village. That's what they call it.
And I was so I was doing it with them at first, looking and stuff and looking at and I saw Liam sitting over there. He was sitting over there drinking his tea every time we cut. It looked like tea, but it was wine. I found out reading his newspaper and then like drinking wine in like a little big teacup. And I was like, Liam, you're not gonna go look at the data? See what he said. He said, nah. He said the director want me to do something different. He'll tell me. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, all right. So I was like, fuck it. I was with Liam after that. I didn't stress out because they were stressed. They didn't like some stuff. They saw stuff that in themselves that they didn't like because you know how hard you are on yourself.
Sure. And
I was like that too. I didn't do some stuff that I did I didn't like. And that's the stuff that we don't know how many takes. We don't know which take they're going to use and edit it and stuff like that. You just stress yourself out over nothing, and you go and talk to the director. Oh, I got to do this. I do, and I saw them all doing that. And then Liam, he was like, the director wants something different. He'll tell me. He knew that he was going to use all those clips. So I learned that. I learned that from him, and then I saw how Bradley before he got in the scene, how he he went somewhere in his mind to get in the scene. See me, I'm not an actor like that, right? So it's like. A lot of stuff I was doing was like ad-libbing and stuff like that. My stuff was easy, but then I had a couple of hard scenes, and I saw Bradley. He would get to himself before the scene. He was getting in his mind, and I had to do this really hard scene when I was coming. When we was in a diner, when we was in a diner, I had to tell him I didn't want to kill anymore, and that was a really hard scene. I really had to act. And I couldn't just do no ad living and bounce off what they're saying and tell Murdoch to shut up, fool. I could, what I'm saying, I couldn't. I really had to act it, and so I took a page from his book. I went before the scene. I went and went to myself and what I'm saying, I just got a quiet place. I just really thought about this scene, and I got in the mind, like, you know what? It took me back to my childhood, like where I grew up in the streets, and so if I had the choice to kill somebody, like, I don't. You really got to go there when you act, because when you acting, it's all in your face and your eyes and everything.
Yeah.
And I learned that from Bradley. Like you really have to go. You have to find that place in your mind where this can actually be something real. It's got to be believable that you actually saying this for the audience to buy it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was a background actor in a movie with Liam Neeson.
Which one?
Called Chloe.
I haven't seen that one yet.
It was a movie with Liam Neeson and Julianne Moore. And I was at a table this far away from Liam Neeson, and I was blown away by just how subtle he is. Like he walks in and he says the lines to her, but he was saying them like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
And I kind of looked up for a second. I'm like, is he? Oh, we're in the scene right now. It just felt so authentic. Yeah. And that's something I'll never forget. I only spent 2 days in that movie, but I'll never forget, like, it felt like they were having a genuine conversation.
Yeah, he's really good, man. That's when he's on the next level. Like his confidence, it's all about confidence. His confidence is up there really high. And I feel that you just brought back memories. That's exactly how it is. It was like he was whispering, but he got that mic right there. Like we can't hear him, but I guess the mic is picking him good. And we think that we have to be loud and say stuff louder and stuff. But yeah, I remember he was like that.
Like this, we were at a diner, so you wouldn't be talking loud. And I'm like, I would never put that together because I'm not an actor like he is.
Yeah.
But if you're at a diner, you'd be speaking softly. Yeah. And I was like, man.
Yeah, he's on the next level. I remember the first time he corrected me on something. I was driving the van. We was doing the scene, and I was driving the van. And I was bouncing doing the steering wheel like this and shit. He was like, Rampage, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm driving, motherfucker. Don't you see me? He was like, when do you drive like that? You turn the steering wheel like that. I was like, oh, fuck, he got me. Like, we don't be driving. He said, man, drive like you drive like a normal car. Like, he's just so switched on like that. You think, because I've seen people in movies and TV shows driving and doing a steering wheel like that. I've seen that.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to emulate. You know what I'm saying?
But all acting is just recreating real life.
Yeah, but you got to get.
If you were driving like this on the road, you'd be all over the place.
You'd be all over the road.
You'd get pulled over.
Yeah. He got it. I thought it was funny. He was like, he made me feel kind of stupid, but then I was like, okay. But they all knew that. They all knew what I was. They knew I was a fighter. Yeah. And they all agreed that, yeah, I think you're perfect for this role. And I don't have an ego. I come down. I'm surrounded by great actors. Jessica Biel, all these, even the other people that was on it was there. It was crazy.
They were making you the modern day Mr. T.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. So
also big shoes to fill.
Yeah. So I took direction from everybody. Anybody had something to say, I didn't have ego, and I just laughed off some stuff because they knew that I wasn't like a seasoned actor, and they understood it. Everybody was good about it. I'm still close friends to all these guys.
That's great.
Yeah. Everybody still, all those guys were great. They're all super cool.
So this has been so great, running through everything, like going through your whole career here. But I end every conversation talking about gratitude because it's such an important part of my life.
Oh, yeah. I
wake up every day, I say out loud 3 things I'm grateful for, and I do it before I go to bed. So, Rampage, what are 3 things in your life that you're grateful for?
I'm grateful for my kids, and I'm grateful about my my relationship with the Most High God, because like his salvation, like he saved my life many a times, and this real talk. I'm great. I'm really grateful that I'm friends with Harrison Rogers now, man. Me and him got really close, and I've had a lot of evil people around me. This real talk. Yeah. And when I told him I had some land in my hometown, and he was like, "Oh, what you doing with it?" I'm like, "Shit, I don't know. I just bought like fucking 70 acres. I don't know what to do with it." Boom. He showed me, helping me out. He said, I'm gonna show you how to do some stuff. And he the type of guy that's like, he want all his friends to to be multimillionaires like him, and I like people like that,
Mm.
and that's what I need around. That's what I need around me. I have other people just trying to get something from me. I'm that's what I need around me. So those are the three things that I'm thankful for.
I love that. Harrison's a great dude. I mean, the reason that you and I are sitting here right now is because Harrison connected us. So thank you, my friend. Thank you.
You're the man.
I see how big your fist is.
It's not that big. I've heard that
There's
before.
a lot of power behind that.
Go ahead and say, I've heard that before. It's not that big. I heard that before. It's not going to hurt my feelings.
There's so much power behind these hands, though.
Yeah. I'm. You know, it's not the hand. It's like you got to ball up your fist super tight, but all the power comes from your hips, your ass.
Oh, like that.
And see, I got big legs,
The
big
way
ass.
you throw the punch.
Is where you. That's where the power don't come from your arms. It comes all the way down from your feet. My boxing coach, I love him. Bobby Rimmer out of UK. He said, reason why you punch so hard is because you got flat feet and you got a big ass. That's why he said. That's why I punch so hard.
That's a great note to end this on. So Rampage, thank you so much.
No problem, brother.